Oh no, I got him on the table. Who's lashing out? Spazzy's lashing out. What an appropriate response, I guess, for someone named Spazzy. Hello everyone, I'm CrypticFox, and welcome back to Cryptic Derp, our little colony here in Oxygen Not Included. Now, this is the second colony that we built. I started this the other night on a live stream. We got quite a bit done, actually. We're into cycle 21. Things have been rolling along relatively smoothly. We just finished putting in a whole bunch of this nice graded floor in the middle that will let a lot of this, a lot of the gases sort of pass from floor to floor. Trying to limit the amount of impediment that it might have in moving gas, because I want the carbon dioxide to fall down as much as possible and the oxygen to hang out in the living area as much as possible. I do have a little bit of algae here left over, only about 642 kilograms. This stuff goes through it pretty fast, unfortunately, so it kind of gets used up relatively quickly. But so far, so good. Everything seems to be running along relatively smoothly. Nobody's generating power right now, though. That's maybe a bit of an issue. I've got everybody on cleanup duty. But for the most part, you know, everything's going okay. I mean, the oxygen's not a really high concentration. It's pretty good over here in terms of being breathable. It's sort of barely breathable over in many of the other areas of the base. So we certainly want to help kind of boost that up a little bit. A couple things I want to tackle today. I'd like to maybe cut up into this area over here. And I'd kind of like to do something a little bit different maybe with our bathroom facilities. Because we're just sort of using the outhouses and then trying to deal with the gases that come off of it. And I'd rather maybe do something using the actual plumbing setup that they have. So they do have things like the outhouse and the shower that would help a lot with improving morale. And then, you know, also help with not creating unnecessary waste. So we're trying to do some sort of a closed system that way where we can have our bathroom facilities. We have another duplicate coming in, but I'm going to reject them because we don't really need any more duplicates at the moment. The 6 I have seem to be handling everything relatively well. I kind of don't want to mess with the balance too much. We do have an algae deoxidizer that still has a little bit of algae to run, but not a ton of it, so I'm trying to use it relatively sparingly to make sure that we keep enough breathable oxygen in the base, but I don't want to get too extreme. Let's try to even this out a little bit. I'd kind of like to expand in the living quarters up here just a little bit, make it a little bit more even. Not for any really specific reason, except that I just kind of like when it looks a little bit more uniform. And I'd kind of like to close it off, too, so that I have a relatively closed-in setting there for them, so that they have a place that I know that they can go and sleep, that they're not going to be bothered by strange gases and stuff from other areas of the base. Over here, I do want to still do something with power generation that would help not having to have somebody on the treadmill quite so often. So let's go into... we don't have the coal generator just yet. How's our research coming along? Research-wise, we haven't even started on combustion yet, so I'm going to need to get started on that. Now, from the live stream, I did actually build out 2 research stations and then 1 supercomputer to try and help power through some of the research that we need to get completed. I figured once we get all that done, then we can actually just destroy the research stations, and then we don't have to have them taking up space or taking up power, which would be great. I think this guy just finished his research. Nope, he didn't. Where'd he go? Timmy's out to, I don't know, clean up the bathroom or something. I don't know what's going on here. Oh, I see. I think he might have needed. I think Spazzy might have needed dirt to continue research. Nope, Timmy's on the research. Trying to polish off that fine dining research so that we can make some reasonable living quarters in terms of like cooking space for them. Let's try to do some more tiling in here. Still only have sandstone. It's funny, like in any other games that I've, in the first colony that I made, I actually ended up with a whole bunch of other materials that I was building out of instead of just sandstone. Okay, what we got in here gas-wise? Oh, we got some contaminated oxygen in here, so you have to be careful about cutting in here. Decent supply of water so far. This has been holding out okay, but water is certainly going to be one of our more limited resources, so I have to be a little bit cautious about how we use that. Let's start getting things maybe set up in here. How can I channel this stuff out of here? I don't want all this carbon dioxide hanging out in here. But I also don't want to spend the algae in order to put an algae terrarium in place here. So I think what I might do is try pumping the carbon dioxide down to where I have my air scrubber to give it more opportunity to work. because so far it hasn't really been working all that hard. Oops, I don't want to dig. I want to prioritize. Let's get the floor finished in here. We'll make this a 9. I did also notice that down here there's a huge pocket of algae. Just like massive. Tons of algae in here. The trouble is, it's bordering this horrible mess right here. There's a little morb in there too. This pocket here has hydrogen, contaminated oxygen, and chlorine all in the same area, which really kind of stinks. As soon as I cut in here, it's going to be a problem. I think actually more might be metabolizing the chlorine to produce the contaminated oxygen, but I'm not entirely sure. I kind of want to get my hands on a few of these guys and try to contain them in one place. Down over here, we have a little puft that also turns contaminated air into slime. So it'd be nice if we could get some of those, but I only see the one so far, and I have no idea how we would go about corralling him into an area that we could actually control him. There's a couple of things I want to do. So, I mean, I want to do the whole bathroom thing, but I also want to try and make some sort of a better ventilation system in here. So I have oxygen going up here for my algae deoxidizer. It'd be nice if I could spread that around a little bit more. I mean, it's maintaining a pretty decent breathability around here, but I kind of want to do some sort of ventilation system where we can take oxygen from areas that it's not as necessary and channel it into the places where it's more useful. And I'm thinking down here may be the place to do that. What do we got over here? This is barely breathable. We've got a low concentration of oxygen. The tricky part with the air scrub is it doesn't actually produce oxygen. All it does is it takes carbon dioxide out of the air. So it gets rid of that contamination, but it doesn't actually give you any new oxygen, and that's kind of a problem. Okay, so what do I want to work on next? I want to look at combustion next, I think. We'll get that taken care of. And then that'll let me put down, because I want to do the coal power generator down here. The coal power generator produces carbon dioxide. Where is it here? Coal generator. It produces 20 grams per second of carbon dioxide, so it's not a ton. It sucks up coal to do it, 1,000 grams per second. So it will produce some extra carbon dioxide for us, which we can then in turn... Well, this is just going to strip it out. It doesn't actually convert it into oxygen, so... it'll give us power, but it's not going to give us any extra air. It's hard to create like an infinite loop of things in here. There's only a couple ways that I'm able to find to do that. This setup here seems to work pretty well. I think we can do one also with the bathroom, but I was hoping I could do one with the carbon dioxide coming out of the coal generator, but because it doesn't actually release oxygen, all it does is take out carbon dioxide. That's not going to work. What I wonder is the contaminated water. So it seems like the contaminated water ends up releasing contaminated oxygen, but I can't tell if it's a case of it's actually releasing it, or it's just converting existing oxygen into something that's contaminated. Because looking in here, like this little pocket's been here the entire time, and it's only like 15.7 kilograms. Oh, that's very toxic, actually. Kilograms. What have we got up in the rest of the place? Grams. Oh yeah, it's highly concentrated in there. It's under a fair amount of pressure. Huh. So we might even be able just to create a pool of contaminated water that releases contaminated oxygen, which we then purify. Use that for air, maybe? Somebody's breathing heavy. Can't see where. Okay, down here we're looking still barely breathable. Oxygen levels are not strong. I would like to be able to channel the oxygen out of here, but I'm not getting enough down there. How are we doing algae-wise? We're all out of algae. Alright, so we're not producing any air up here anymore. We're going to have to start to accelerate some plans to produce some oxygen, I think, in the near future. Oh, wait a minute. They're having to run out to get a breath of air? What's going on? They ran into the carbon dioxide to get their breath, and then they went back to bed. 38.2 grams. Oh, the air pressure's dropping bad. Okay. More than anything else, we need algae right now. This just isn't going to last otherwise. If I cut into here, I'm going to get hydrogen, but there's a fair amount of it in there, too. I had a big problem with algae, or with hydrogen before, but I think given the lack of algae, unless I come all the way up top here, there's some little pockets of it up here, but nothing great. Lots of dirt. Igneous rock. Yeah, it looks like that's really the only pocket of algae that I have that's, you know, relatively accessible, and there's a really good chunk of it. Getting into this stuff would actually help me prolong what I'm working on, at least. It's not ideal, but I think we're going to have to do it. Let's go like so. We're going to need to deconstruct that piece of floor I just put in here. And then I'm going to need them to dig out. I don't want them to get too close because I'm a little concerned about how much this stuff is going to leak through. Let's set all this actually at a priority of 9. Try to get them to deal with this as soon as possible. Because I think we're just going to need to. I got an extra ladder here we don't need. Alright, where else have I got stuff prioritized right now? This one square is okay. Alright, let's get them back moving again. Oh boy. Oh, looks like they found a pocket of oxygen here that was super breathable. Wow, look at the pressure coming out of there. Okay, good. So the air pressure over here is going to help drive some of this carbon dioxide towards the middle, towards our scrubber, which is exactly what I want. I need... Let's get a little tile floor over here. Actually, let's make it at this level. Oh, jeez. Just totally messed that up. Let's do a permeable floor over here. And then cancel this. Slow things down. Okay, we got our stress levels really starting to jump up again. So we've got stuff and more stuff at 53%, Spazzy at 47%. I don't want these guys to start spazzing out. So let's see if we can get... let's pause this for a moment. Try and get something in here that can help manage their stress with a little bit. Put a couple pictures in here. Okay, and then somewhere in here is the massage table. We're going to want that. Let's see. What the heck, the massage table? Medicine? No. Furniture. That makes sense. We'll put, I don't know, put 2 massage tables in here, I guess. I'm going to set all this stuff up here as a priority of 8. It's more important for us to get that algae than it is to do anything else. There we go. So once they get a hold of this algae and we start producing some more oxygen, that will obviously help reduce stress a little bit. But then if they can get some things going over here, that might make for a better environment for them too. Kilograms of breathable gas. I really want to leverage that. There's even actual breathable air trapped in there. 6.9 kilograms of it. Okay, come on, guys. You're really close. It's just a little bit farther down and then over, and you can get into some algae, and then you guys can breathe again. And I should probably... Actually, I'm going to enable this so that when they get some of the algae, they can use it to produce a little bit of oxygen in 2 different places, and that will help a little bit. Carbon dioxide we've got in good control, but the trouble is it's just our breathable gas is too low. And it's low everywhere. What are you doing up there? Like, seriously, what are you doing up there? He's sitting up there eating, holding his breath. Oh, there must have been something sitting up there he could eat because he ran up to get it. He went into the toxic gas so he could sit and have lunch. Nice. Stuff and more stuff. No wonder his stress was high. Good grief. Alright, it turns out that I ran out of the little lice things that you can make food out of. So that was a bit of a problem. But we have them working on mush bars now to try to solve for the hunger problem, and hopefully that will take care of it. I really would still like to get a kitchen set up down here so we can deep fry some of those mush bars. And solve maybe some of those issues. They're very close to getting to the algae. They're just right on the edge of it, but they're not quite getting there. I have stuff and more stuff is at 67% for stress. Let's get him on the massage table and hope we can try to bring down some of that stress. Research is very close to being finished. And then once that's the case, we can destroy those 2 things. They'll stop drawing power, and we won't take up space. Nice, they're all finished. I'm going to pause this for a moment. Let's deconstruct the supercomputer and the 2 research stations now that we're all finished with those. I'm not worried at all about the heat management ones right now because I don't have any heat real issues. I mean, it's a little bit warm in here. Actually, it's actually getting pretty hot up here. Scorching. Alright. But as soon as we open up the space above, then a lot of the heat can dissipate upwards, so... And if we can get rid of things like the supercomputer and the research stations, then they won't even be producing heat. So, you know, that might help in and of itself. So we get those taken care of. We get stress down here ideally on stuff and more stuff. He and Spazzy are still super high. A chair is starting to creep up there too. He's at 31%. I don't want them to get to the point where they start vomiting or breaking things just yet. I don't have a way to manage the vomit if they start to do it. It'll all fall into my tanks down here, and that would be really bad. Actually, while I'm thinking of it, I probably should put some gas permeable tile right all the way across here. Oh shoot, the ladder's going to be a problem. We can take that out though. Only because if they start to throw up everywhere, I can't have them contaminate my water supply. That would be bad. I'm going to set this at an 8. So I don't want them to do it as a priority over top of actually getting oxygen. It looks like they finally actually got a little bit of algae, so we might have some air. We do have some air production going. Excellent. The air pressure was getting really, really bad. It's nice in the area around this. It will start to build up as they get both of these going. That'll stave off that issue, but down here we're going to get another big pocket of carbon dioxide as this stuff all falls down the ladder, so they're not going to have a whole lot of air down here very soon. If I can make this big enough, then I might, I don't know. I keep thinking I want to leverage what's in here, but there's so much hydrogen in this area that if I cut into it, I'm going to have a hydrogen problem in my base again, because the hydrogen rises above the air. That's a big problem. All right, we got 2 oxygen. Algae deoxidizers are going to produce oxygen. Pressure's going up nicely. This is going to help a lot with their stress and also with just their general ability to breathe. But, you know, I guess it can be a little stressful if you can't breathe. They're going to need a ladder down here, or they're not going to be able to do much. Oops, nope, don't do that. You want a ladder? All right, let's build this down here. Oh, what's happening? Somebody's lashing out. This is exactly what I was trying to avoid. Don't break the... you fool. We finally have air, and you're going to break the oxygen. Who is this? Stuff and more stuff. Ah. No, I got him on the table. Who's lashing out? Spazzy's lashing out. What an appropriate response, I guess, for someone named Spazzy. Alright, well, that's a problem. Let's get this fixed. Repair. This level of stress is not something I want to have to cope with now. Because we're finally at a place where things are going to start to balance out again. And I've got to deal with the stress. That's just something not so good. Down here, I want to make some food quarters. So let's go with, let's see. We can do a cooking station. Do a little refrigerator next to it. For under furniture, we can do little mess tables. Like so. Now, the trouble is, if they hang out down here, they're going to start to build up carbon dioxide. And that's going to be a bit of a problem, because they don't have it channeling out anywhere. So to deal with that, maybe what we'll do is we'll extend this flooring all the way across. Like so. We'll get them to kind of dig out all this. And then I can extend the mesh flooring over here. There. So this will give them like a nice little kitchen area where they can kind of hang out. We want to make sure that they're happy in this area, so... What happens if I wish I could ignore what lighting this has. So I could just see for myself what these ceiling lamps are going to do. Actually, that's pretty good. If I set that right there and connect it to the power supply, then I think I can get rid of the 2 lights. Oh, what's going on? Food shortage still. 1,000 calories. Who's producing food? Okay, we got somebody making... A chair is making food. Sounds like an odd thing to say. The chair is making food. So a chair is making food. They're still gathering algae down here, which is good. I really want them to clean that algae up there, so they put it all in storage, but I'll deal with what I can for now. 2,000 calories. All right, so he's kind of barely keeping up, so they're not starving to death just yet. I still don't like this. The fits and starts we're getting out of this. So down here, I want to put our coal-powered generator. Let's set it up now so that it gets going when they're ready. Let's maybe do double coal-power generator. We'll connect both of those to the power grid. They're going to produce a fair amount of carbon dioxide, but it is sitting right next to our breather, so that's okay. Okay, good. Our overall stress level is coming down. Chair's at 39%, Timmy at 34%, Dark Souls 28%, Dr. Get Wrecked at 28%, Spazzy at 14%, and Stuff and More Stuff is all the way down to 3 now. He spent so long on that table, he went from like a 60% to a 3%. That is one good massage table, I'll tell you that. If we can get this going down here, that would help with our power production, and then I don't have to worry about up here so much. And I'd like to get some batteries built down here, too, for storage, but I need this flooring finished first. All right, we jumped all the way ahead to cycle 30. Actually, I guess cycle 30 is just wrapping up. They're going to bed. It's going to be cycle 31 soon. They've gathered up a lot of the algae that was down here. They did a nice job of cutting that out. That gave us a really good supply of algae for a little while to get some air going. But we're already down in a bad place. We're at 79 kilograms of it. This is going to burn out relatively soon. These are just running on battery power for now, but when the power runs out from the batteries, then these will turn off. Very, very soon, we're going to be back in the same place where we have an algae problem. So there's quite a bit still. I mean, there's a little bit more we can kind of harvest down here. I probably should grab that just to make sure that it bridges out as much as we can. There's a huge pocket of algae down here also, so we can work our way down here, but we're going to have a problem with this hydrogen, which I'm going to need to figure something out sooner rather than later. I was planning to do my hydrogen production over here, but I think it might make more sense to maybe set something up down here for my hydrogen production, and then I can just cut into these pockets, and then I don't have to worry so much about them going into the algae. The trouble is that it's going to make it all escape up into here, and then I'm going to have problems with hydrogen. But what I did notice is down here, so we have this huge pressure down here of like 20 some odd kilograms per square of contaminated oxygen. And I want to make use of that. So so the plan I'm doing is I've built this tiny little compartmentalized room here. And what's going to happen is, let's slow this down a little bit. We got high stress here again. Who's super stressed? Spazzy, again with Spazzy. Okay, where's Spazzy? He must be working in carbon dioxide or something a lot. And let's get stuff and more stuff on here too, since they're both spazzing out again. Yeah, they're down here working on the carbon dioxide. That's probably what the problem is. All right, so here's the plan. So I'm going to cut into this contaminated oxygen area and let it funnel up into this area where these scrubbers, or the air deodorizers, are going to turn it into breathable air. This pump is going to pump the gas through to this little gas filter, and it's going to take any of the contaminated oxygen and send it back to the room that happens to go in the pump, and the clean oxygen is going to leave and go out into the broader portion of the base. What's going on here? We need a proper tile there. And we're going to need some more ventilation in here. So let's go back to plumbing. We need gas pipes. We'll set those at a 9 because I need all this done as soon as possible because we're running really, really short on air. And I think I'm just going to run this... No, we'll run this straight upwards. Oops. Straight up the ladder. And we'll just dump it right here in the middle of the base. And then hope from there it should be able to spread out and go to most of these areas because I have all these semi-permeable floors. The trouble is they're going to run into some oxygen problems down here while they're getting this all set up, but hopefully we can get past that. Spazzy and Stuff and More Stuff, I think they're both up here. Yes, they are. Good. Once we can get past that, then this should produce some strong concentration of oxygen, at least for a little bit. Let's do electrical wiring. Okay, now what I want to do with the wiring is I don't want this to be on all the time necessarily. I'm going to hook those two together, and we're going to go across this way. I need to set that all. Oops. I need to set all that at a 9 so they get that taken care of sooner rather than later. And then, oops, power switch. What am I out of here? Oh, I'm out of copper. I built so much floor. I ran out of copper. Gosh, I could cut in over here. I wanted to make use of this pocket anyway, so I'm a little bit loath to do this now since I'm having oxygen problems, but. Let's cut into this vacuum over here. It's going to decompress a large portion of my base, but I have very, very breathable air in most of my base now. Like, this is looking pretty. Look at that. That is amazing. I had a problem over here with carbon dioxide before, but I put the semi-permeable floors in. It seems to channel it down. The scrubber at the bottom is doing an amazing job. This portion over here helped a lot of carbon dioxide kind of drop down in this lower area. The whole base itself has never looked better in terms of air, except for maybe when we very first started, but... amazing so far. So when I cut into this, it's going to decompress part of it, but it shouldn't be too big of an issue. But I do need the copper so I can make the switch. How's my prioritization on here? Okay, everything there looks good. I want to prioritize all of this. Where did it go? It disappeared on me. Hold on. Plumbing. Where's my gas pipe? Oh, okay. Let's see. It's already been built. Wow, they already got part of it done. Nice. I really wanted to get to the bathroom this time around, but I don't think I'm going to have time for it today. Once we get this this sort of like oxygen cleansing room set up, to help make sure that we maintain a steady flow of oxygen in the base, then I think that I'm going to be pretty much out of time for this video. We've already run really long, I think. Even after I edit this down, it's probably going to be a bit of a long video. So let's get this taken care of, and we'll see how it plays out. And then hopefully everything will be good, and we'll be ready to roll. Now I did a double door here, just because when they go through here, some of the contaminated oxygen is going to pass into this area, and I want it to get scrubbed. We have our coal power generator set up here, but do we not have any wiring for it? What's going on? Why isn't it running? No, it should all be hooked up and ready to go. I guess it's waiting on delivery. What's the deal with this? Coal generator. I mean, it looks like it should be running, but it's not. I guess maybe we didn't need the power right away. Wow, everything's looking really smooth right now, and that kind of concerns me. when the wheels aren't falling off the bus, I'm just worried that like there's a train wreck that's gonna hit me out of nowhere. I am out of algae though, so even though we've got like really good breathable air right now, this is not gonna last. Boy, it's really good concentration like everywhere. That's spooky. Day 31, and we've got really good air concentration everywhere in the base. That's really... What happened here? Somebody deconstructed the floor. Why did they do that? Put that back. Party 9, get that back there. That's right. I have no idea why they would have done that. Why would they break the floor? I didn't tell them to, I don't think. This year we want to set the scrubber. We're going to set it to contaminated oxygen, so anything that goes through the pipe that's contaminated oxygen is going to get sent back. Oh gosh, everything's already up and running. Where's my power switch? We're going to put the power switch right on here. Set that as a priority 9 because I don't want this on all the time. How's our gases going over here? Alright, it's pumping all the air out of here. I don't want that right now. I don't want to create a vacuum in there where they can't breathe when they go down to work. Who's on the stress? Spazzy and a chair. Who have we got up here? Spazzy. Stuff and more stuff. He's still at like 28%. Let's kick him off for now. We got a chair on here instead. Alright, we're going to turn the switch to off so that this pump isn't running just for now. Gas filter and everything seems to be set up. Oh, we don't have this done here. Let's get the party 9. Yeah. So we need our outlet here still, but otherwise everything else seems to be built. He'll run and turn the power off on that for now, which is good. We don't need power on either of these, so there's no point wasting it. And then I'm going to need send somebody in here. And let's cut into this. This is going to be where we're going to get that high concentration of gas up here. So somebody will grab this at priority 9. And then hopefully they'll run back out again. Because I don't want them to stay in there. And then the only reason they should have to come back in these rooms is to restock these things with sand. Alright, we're in. Oh, wow, the water created a little blockage there. That's not what I planned. Okay, we're going to need to dig some more here just to make this flow through here, I think. That's crazy. They're going back to bed. I was so close. Alright, we got Timmy coming down to finish off the job down here. Hopefully when he digs through here, we can get some of this contaminated air. Oh my gosh, the water keeps going upward instead of downward when I cut away the stone. That is ridiculous. Come on, give me the contaminated air. Oh, there it goes. We found it. Alright, so he can get out of there. We had a tiny bit leak out, but that'll get caught by this scrubber. So I think this double door system should work pretty well. I want the concentration to build up in here a little bit. They're converting the gas as we speak into something that will be breathable, and then when we get a good concentration in here, I'll turn on the pump and spread it out in the base. In the meantime, it can just stay in there and get as clean as possible and build up some pressure. I'm good with that. How are we doing gas-wise here? Alright, so yeah, it's scrubbing this quickly. What are we getting here pressure-wise? We're getting some good pressure in here. 1,000 grams. 2,000. Things are looking good. Alright. So this can go ahead and work. It'll do a whole bunch of air purifying for me, and then when I'm ready for it, I can just pump it up. It will come out through the gas vent. Blammo. Oxygen problem will be solved when we run into our next crisis. But it's not going to last forever. This is only a small pocket in here. I do now have regular water on top of contaminated water, which seems weird. You think the whole thing should just become contaminated at that point. I don't know how that works. But so far so good. I think I'm going to call it a wrap for tonight. I didn't really get done what I wanted to. I wanted to do the bathroom, but we can focus on that maybe for next time. I was thinking of having the bathroom over here, but now that I've got this contaminated water here, I might want to set it up over here. And then have the contaminated water contribute in some way to this oxygen production. If I can build up a big enough pool over here, we might be able to send out contaminated oxygen at an unprecedented rate, and then we can clean it and hopefully pump it. But thanks everyone for checking out the video. Hope you enjoy these and you'll come back and check out some more. We'll be back next time with some more of our little colony here and see what we can do in terms of advancing things. Hopefully everything stays well as we move forward. I'm as always CrypticFox. I'll see all of you next time.